Good day viewers, welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend and are feeling refreshed and ready for the week ahead. Our lead story for today. Former Muvhango actress Tebogo Thobejane reveals damning details to police, explains why Cat Matlala paid nearly 400,000 rand for her assassination. Cat Matlala killed Babita Deokaran as well as his lawyer friend who reported him to SARS for tax fraud. He also cheated on me with Tsakani from the moment I introduced him to Tsakani and they started sleeping together right away. Tebogo Thobejane reveals these and other shocking details. A chilling and breathtaking tale of terror is unfolding in South Africa's business and celebrity circles, involving powerful figures, hidden betrayals, and deadly plots that connect corruption in public health to personal vendettas. At the center of this horror-themed real-life drama stands Vusimusi Cat Matlala, a businessman known for his flashy lifestyle and security company, who police say paid nearly 400,000 rand to orchestrate the assassination of actress Tebogo Thobejane. This act stems from her revelations about Matlala's alleged role in the killing of whistleblower Babita Deokaran and a lawyer who had reported him to the South African Revenue Service for tax issues. Authorities have been piecing together evidence that points to Matlala as the mastermind, driven by fear that Thobejane's knowledge could expose his dark secrets. As investigations continue into 2025, this story reveals layers of greed, jealousy, and unchecked power that have endangered lives and shaken trust in systems meant to protect the public. Tebogo Thobejane, once a star in the soap opera Muvhango, has provided a sworn statement to police detailing her suspicions. She believes Matlala ordered the hit on her after she shared her thoughts with a mutual acquaintance, who may have passed the information along. Thobejane's account describes how she first met Matlala in early 2020, entering a romantic relationship that lasted about 13 months until September 2021. During this time, she introduced him to her close friend and business associate, Tsakani, who later became Matlala's wife. Unbeknownst to Thobejane at the start, Matlala and Tsakani began a secret affair on the very day of their first meeting at Morningside Shopping Centre. This betrayal led to the collapse of Thobejane's business partnership with Tsakani, fueled by jealousy over shared connections, including Tsagani's baby daddy, Gabelo, whom Thobejane knew well. The plot thickens with Thobejane's claims about Matlala's past actions. She recalls a road trip to Tembisa where Matlala stopped to meet his business partner, Morgan Momela, in a separate car before proceeding to a tavern. Shockingly, Momela is President Cyril Ramaphosa's cousin. There, Matlala introduced her to 3 unknown African men, and she remained in the car initially. Later, Matlala appeared stressed at home, pacing and admitting he had sent hitmen after a woman but they missed their target. Thobejane connected this to news reports about Babita Deokaran's murder, especially after seeing Matlala and Momela linked to corruption scandals at Tembisa Hospital. She also remembers Matlala expressing worry over tax troubles, mentioning how his lawyer friend had reported him to SARS, only for that friend to die shortly afterward in 2020. Thobejane suspects Matlala orchestrated that death to silence the lawyer. These suspicions grew when Thobejane confided in Serge Kabonge, a businessman known as Serge the Blesser, telling him she believed Matlala was behind Deokaran's killing and the lawyer's death. She thinks Serge recorded their conversation, as he often does, and possibly sold it to Matlala, alerting him to her knowledge. This, combined with jealousy from Tsakani, who runs Cat VIP security and has access to potential hitmen, is what Thobejane believes triggered the attempt on her life. She suspects Serge and a woman named Natasha may have been tracking her movements and relaying information to the assailants. The attempt happened on October 17, 2023, as Thobejane left Signature Restaurant in Morningside Mall with friends, including Natasha. Serge had insisted on joining them that night. While driving on Brinston Drive, gunshots rang out from the right side of the car at a traffic light. Thobejane froze in shock, but her friend Japan leaned forward, screaming that she had been hit. Japan suffered a serious spinal injury, leaving her paralyzed and changing her life forever. Thobejane herself was shot in the foot but survived. Fearing for her safety, she fled to Dubai, Ghana, and Nigeria, living in exile while the investigation unfolded. Police later arrested suspects, and Thobejane identified one from photos as Musagegana, whom she had seen 2 weeks earlier at Gwajoyce in Alexandra. Gegana, along with Tleko Floyd Mabusela and others, faces charges in connection with the shooting. Matlala himself was arrested in May 2025 in a dramatic sting operation in Midrand, stopped by police while traveling through the city. He now stands accused of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and money laundering, alongside his wife Tsakani, Gegana, and Mabusela. A key state witness is Mabusela's 23-year-old daughter, Ntabiseng Nzama, who initially faced money laundering charges but may have them dropped in exchange for her testimony. Court documents reveal suspicious payments from Matlala totaling nearly 400,000 rand, which prosecutors say were fees for the hit on Thobejane. These include transfers to accounts linked to Mabusela and Nzama around the time of the shooting. For instance, on the 12th of October 2023, 5 days before the incident, 20,000 rand was sent from Matlala's company account to Nzama's account. That same day, Mabusela sent a voice message to Gegana about meeting and possibly getting funds from Matlala to buy a car. Then, on October 18th, the day after the shooting, 100,000 rand was transferred to Nzama's account at 11:39 a.m., exactly an hour and 3 minutes before Mabusela's mother died at 12:36 p.m. Additional payments followed, 50,000 to Mabusela's account on the same day, and more in batches, some referenced as Medicare 24, one of Matlala's companies. Matlala claims these funds were for medical and funeral expenses for Mabusela's mother, whom he says was like a maternal figure in his life. He insists the payments were transparent, traceable, and not disguised, denying any link to criminal activity. In his bail affidavit, he argues there is no evidence tying him to the shooting and challenges the state to prove otherwise.
I was informed by accused two about the death of his mother that morning, and I contributed an amount of 100,000 rand to assist with funeral arrangements into the same account. However, the police only relied on the 100,000 rand which appears on the bank statement as having come from my company account via EFT, insinuating that I had paid this money as a fee for the shooting of the victims mentioned in the charge sheet.
He even mentions that Thobejane contacted him multiple times after the incident, from October 2023 to June 2024, seeking his help and protection due to his security background. Matlala says he declined to avoid interfering with the police probe and urges the state to confirm this with her, asking her to stop reaching out now that he is charged.
It is also important to record that this particular victim, whom I dated until 2021, contacted me on several occasions to ask for my help after the vehicle that she was traveling in was shot at. She reached out to me from the month of October 2023, ostensibly after the shooting at her vehicle, until around June 2024, still asking for my help and protection since I am in the security industry. I invite the state to confirm this aspect with the victim and advise her to refrain from contacting me directly or indirectly, since I'm now charged in this case.
However, Thobejane has refuted these claims, insisting Matlala and Tsakani are the true orchestrators, motivated by her knowledge of their involvement in Deokaran's murder. She denies naming other suspects and points to their betrayal as the root cause. In April 2025, she wrote to high officials, including the police minister and National Prosecuting Authority head, expressing frustration over delays in arresting the main figure despite available evidence. She described living in fear, her son's depression, and nearing bankruptcy, questioning if authorities were waiting for her to die before acting. Her plea was heeded by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who is the national convener of the task team that arrested Matlala.
On the 14th of May this year, 2025, the task team arrested Vusimusi, who is also known as Cat Matlala, for an attempted murder ×3.
Matlala's bail hearing in the Alexandra Magistrates Court on September 2, 2025, highlighted the state's opposition. Prosecutors called him a flight risk, noting his private jet and at least 7 international trips between 2012 and 2024, with records showing he may have re-entered South Africa undocumented before his arrest.
A photo of an Eswatini identity card belonging to the applicant was found on his WhatsApp chats. Preliminary investigation points to the fact that this identity card may be false. I attached a copy of this photo as Annexure HM2. False or not, this identity card will enable the applicant to cross the border between South Africa and Eswatini. Paragraph 7. What is more suspicious is the fact that the applicant presents himself as Vusimusi Dlamini on this identity card. The applicant is, by his own admission, a dangerous criminal with no regard for human life. Apart from arranging the killing of Mr. Thobejane in cold blood, he endangered the lives of the occupants of the motor vehicle they were travelling in. 15.2. The crimes that he is charged with are at this stage conspiracy to commit murder, 3 counts of attempted murder and money laundering, and if he is convicted will face long-term imprisonment.
They accused him of witness tampering, pointing to communications with Nzama as late as May 2, 2025. Matlala has a prior conviction from 2001 for housebreaking with intent to steal and theft, plus 11 arrests for various charges like attempted murder and illegal firearm possession that were all withdrawn in very controversial circumstances. The hearing was postponed to September 8, 2025, to allow the state to respond to new claims in his affidavit. This case ties back to the tragic death of Babita Deokaran, a 53-year-old single mother and chief financial officer in the Gauteng Department of Health. On August 23, 2021, after dropping her teenage daughter at school and shopping at Checkers, she was gunned down outside her home in the south of Johannesburg in a brazen daylight attack. Deokaran had been investigating a 332 million rand scandal involving personal protective equipment at Tembisa Hospital, uncovering inflated orders for items like 100 office chairs, skinny jeans, and art supplies costing R500,000. Her reports flagged unusual spending surges, revealing a network siphoning funds from the hospital's budget. Deokaran expressed fears for her life in the weeks before her death, aware that her discoveries threatened powerful interests. The state believes her killing was meant to prevent her testimony in a special investigating unit probe. 3 days after the murder, 6 hitmen from KwaZulu-Natal, Phakamani Hadebe, Zitha Radebe, Phinda Ndlovu, Sanele Mpele, Siphiwe Mazibuko, and Siphakanyiswa Dladla were arrested by the Hawks. In August 2023, they pleaded guilty in the High Court in Johannesburg.
The 6 men implicated in the murder of whistleblower Babita Deokaran have been convicted and sentenced. They pleaded guilty to the crime earlier today in the High Court in Johannesburg. Deokaran was a crucial witness in the investigation into massive corruption and fraud, mainly at the Tembisa Hospital. Now today marks exactly 2 years since she was killed outside her Johannesburg South home.
Sentences varied. Hadebe and Mbele received 22 years each for murder, Radebe and Mazibuko got 15 years each, Ndlovu was given 6 years, and Dladla received 8 years for murder plus 7 for firearm and ammunition possession, totaling 15 years effective. Despite these convictions, no one has been charged as the mastermind behind Deokaran's death.
The accused have been sentenced between 8 and 22 years in jail, based on the role they played in executing the crime. The state says the 6 did provide information that can be used to further investigate this matter.
It is clear that this act of killing Babita was to stop her from revealing the names of people involved in the financial irregularities at her place of work. All that Babita was doing was to expose corruption, and she paid a huge price for that. It is unfortunate that the person who did the actual shooting has not been arrested, and one can only hope that the investigation will continue until they are brought to face.
The investigation has faced criticism for failures, including the release of alleged gunman Khanyiseni Mpungose, who was later killed to silence him from revealing the mastermind.
The 6 were helping out a certain Mpungose and Sithole, who approached one of them saying they need to get rid of Deokaran.
Accused 1 during early August 2021 was approached by Mpungose, who informed accused 1 that he required his assistance with the deceased as she was seen as a problematic person. 14.5.3, Mpungose expressed that the deceased was creating problems by raising certain issues at her place. Mpungose was clearly acting on behalf of other unknown persons.
Lead Detective Percy Chauge, now a Lieutenant Colonel, has been accused of not pursuing key leads and ignoring evidence. This reflects broader systemic issues in police handling of high-profile cases, where command structures fail to intervene. Deokaran's family, including her daughter Tiara and sisters, continue seeking justice, posting daily on a Facebook group tallying the days since her death, now in the thousands, urging President Cyril Ramaphosa to act.
It's been a year, and I know how everyone's saying, oh, the time has gone so fast, but it's actually gone very slow. A lot has changed for me and my family, and like we all miss like my mom, but it's been a long year and it's still not easy. Especially like I didn't know at the time, you know, I thought she was just, you know, a regular person that just goes to work, come back home. So it was like a shock for me to find out that she was doing this other stuff, but yeah. So the morning she just dropped me off at school, and then my cousin and my uncle came to pick me up. And it was so weird because I came down and everyone was just staring at me, so I didn't know what happened. And then they told me, and then I was like shocked. I don't even remember that well, but yeah. An only child even, so I was like very spoiled. And then she's like my best friend. That's where I learned to watch Bollywood movies, or I like to cook, bake. I feel like, you know, if something interesting happens or something fun happens, I don't have it to tell. Yeah, like if I got my learners, did well in school, then it's like I can't tell her about it. It's still difficult, but like, what can you do? But at least like I know she did make a difference. Even if we don't see the results currently, we know it's gonna happen eventually.
Have you had a chance to hear or listen to some of what General Mkhwanazi had to say in his media briefing?
Yes, I did.
And what did you make of it?
Well, I'm actually glad that he's spoken out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pertain only purely to Babita. It pertains to many other departments in this country. And our entire system has been compromised here. And I'm glad that he has brought it to the fore. And on behalf of that, we're actually grateful for him, as I've said.
Yeah. There's a lot of speculation around a tenderpreneur who's recently been arrested, a Vusimusi, Cat Matlala, who seems to have been fingered or identified in the investigations that Babita was doing. Anything more that the family is aware of pertaining to his alleged involvement, perhaps in her death?
So once again, I say I don't like to speculate, but yes, his name did come to the fore, according to Babita's reports. And hopefully now it's all coming to light. Because if it had been mentioned in 2021 and nothing was done about it, it's about time we do something about it.
They fear the case may never be solved, with evidence lost and momentum faded. Deokaran's work exposed a vast extraction syndicate involving figures like Matlala, whose companies received nearly 5 million rand in red-flagged contracts from Tembisa Hospital. He has ties to Hangwani Morgan Maumela, Ramaphosa's nephew from a previous marriage, central to a 1 billion rand scheme channeling 23 million rand to opaque companies and trusts. Maumela has been selling off his 280 million rand property portfolio, possibly to evade scrutiny. Another connected figure, ANC boss Selo Sekoko, saw his companies score 100 million rand in shady deals, with raids in 2023 seizing documents from his properties after Deokaran flagged his firm Kaizen projects. Matlala's own empire includes Cat VIP Protection Services and Medicare 24 Chone District, which won a 360 million rand police tender despite irregularities like fronting and fraud allegations. The contract was cancelled in May 2025, just days before his arrest. He lives in luxury in Pretoria's Waterkloof Ridge, boasting views of the Union buildings, and his former partner Cordelia Gabeng posted about their high-speed escorts with blue lights for airport runs and school drop-offs, now under investigation for illegality. Investigators have linked Matlala's hitmen to other plots, including the killing of engineer Amon Swart in April 2024, where hitmen like Michael Puletau, who was a police detective while doubling as a hitman, Mabusela, and Gegana were arrested. Swart had reported price inflation on Transnet contracts.
He was an engineer working at a Vereniging firm, and he was shot 23 times on April 17. A car had pulled alongside his while he was waiting for a gate to open at his company, and they peppered the side of his car with bullets, and he died in his seat. 2 weeks before Swart was killed in a case of mistaken identity, the company filed a whistleblowing report with the Department of Public Enterprises, reporting mammoth price inflation on a Transnet contract. It turns out that this company is an original manufacturer of locomotive parts, and they picked up price discrepancies in products that they'd sold onto a middleman who was contracted with Transnet. For a nondescript spring, no bigger than the size of someone's finger, which they sell for R3.20, the same product was sold for R152 each to Transnet. The net effect of this is that what should have been a R25,000 contract morphed into a R1.2 million contract, and 2 weeks after reporting this discrepancy, Swartz was gunned down. In this case, the police were quick to act, and on the same day that Swartz was killed, they arrested 3 men, amongst them a 30-year veteran police officer attached to the Johannesburg Central Detective Branch.
The team probing these cases faces death threats and operates under heavy guard, communicating only via affidavits in court, underscoring the dangers of challenging Matlala's network. This web of corruption at Tembisa Hospital, where billions meant for patients were diverted, shows how greed overrides morality. Deokaran called it a form of genocide, as funds for healthcare vanished into private pockets, enabling lavish lifestyles with properties, cars, and extravagance. Enabled by complicit officials, dealers, agents, and lawyers, this shadow economy thrives, protected by criminal elements willing to eliminate threats. Thobejane's near-death experience echoes Deokaran's fate, highlighting the perils for those who uncover truths. Whistleblowers in South Africa often face isolation, with little protection under laws like the Protected Disclosures Act. Examples abound, like Praza's Martha Ngoye, who endured suspension, threats, lawsuits, and debt after testifying at the Zondo Commission, with scant compensation. Journalist Jeff Wicks, in his book The Shadow State, details following Deokaran's leads, endangering his own life to expose the syndicate involving Matlala, Momela, and others. His work reveals how crooked officials and politicians siphon public funds, leaving hospitals under-resourced amid crises like load shedding and infrastructure failures, all worsened by this unchecked corruption. Matlala remains in custody, and his bail decision is pending. The cases against him and his co-accused continue, with evidence mounting from payments, witness statements, and connections to broader scandals. Thobejane, having survived, pushes for justice, her story a testament to resilience amid betrayal. The investigations into these events are ongoing, with police still tracing the full extent of the networks. Matlala denies all involvement, maintaining his innocence and pointing to his business success as proof of legitimacy. Yet, the details, from timed payments to hitmen links and corruption ties, paint a picture of a man whose empire may be built on perilous foundations. This story exposes how, in South Africa, personal grudges can intertwine with systemic graft, endangering ordinary people and eroding public trust. Deokaran's daughter lives with daily loss, while Thobejane rebuilds amid fear. The pursuit of truth in such environments demands courage, as seen in Deokaran's final reports and Thobejane's bold statements. In exploring these connections, one sees the human cost, families torn apart, lives altered, and a nation grappling with the consequences of allowing such shadows to persist. The story of Matlala, Thobejane, and Deokaran is not just about individual acts but a larger battle against the forces that prioritize profit over people. As this documentary draws to a close, it leaves us pondering the fragility of justice in the face of power. In this video, we have revealed to you that Hangwani Morgan Momela is President Ramaphosa's nephew and that Momela and Cat Matlala were business partners who racked over 23 million rand from controversial multiple tender deals at Tembisa Hospital. This is the scandal that Babita Deokaran exposed and ultimately paid for with her dear life. Having said that, do you see police ever arresting, or let alone investigating the mastermind of Deokaran's assassination? Since Tebogo Thobejane has already linked Matlala and Tsakani to the Babita Deokaran's assassination, under normal circumstances, were we not supposed to see the arrest for Babita Deokaran's alleged mastermind by now? As South Africans, we leave our case in the hands of General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and his political killings task team, as he is our only hope as a nation. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your voice could spark the change we all need to see. Thanks for watching this news bulletin. Please share your opinion in the comments section. We would be glad to read and respond to your comments. Let's meet again tomorrow in our next strange story. Wishing you a fruitful and productive week ahead.